Hi Scholar, welcome to Paul Scholar's channel. Yeah, so the title of this video is Unknown Angles, Alternate and Cointerior Angles. We have two questions to solve, this first one and the second one. Now, these two, we are going to use the concept of alternate and cointerior angle to solve these two problems. Although I might still use other properties of angles to solve it, but the major focus is alternate and cointerior. So let's get started. Now, the first concept says alternate angles, right? That's the first property, alternate angle. How do you identify an alternate angle? Now, this is how an alternate angle look like. You have two parallel lines. The lines must be parallel, right? Then you have a transversal. These are the parallel lines. Then you have a transversal across the two parallel lines. So alternate angle is saying this angle here, which is angle A, is equal to this angle here, which is angle what? B, right? So that's what alternate angle says. It's also called Z angle. You could see the Z right away. So the angle subtended within here is called alternate angle, right? So we are going to use this to solve question 1. Now, before I solve question 1, which is letter A, let me draw the diagram first of all. Good. Now, this is the diagram, right? Now, we are asked to find the value of x. Now, looking at this diagram, we want to find the value of x. Like I do tell you, there are numerous methods of solving mathematical problems, right? So, the method we want to employ in this example is the alternate and cointerior angle. I already explained alternate angle. Now, let me explain cointerior angle. Now, cointerior angle says when you have two parallel lines, right, and a transversal is across the parallel lines, this angle which is A and this angle which is B sums up to 180. That's what cointerior angle says. That means A plus B equals 180. That's the concept of cointerior angle. Similarly, this angle here, which is angle C, and this angle here, which is angle D, also sum up to what? 180. That's C plus D equals 180 degree. The concept is called cointerior angle. So those are the two major concepts we want to employ in solving this problem. Now, before you solve this problem, you need to be very, very vigilant, right? You need to be very, very vigilant and creative in solving problems. Now, looking at this problem, what comes to my mind? I have 143 degree here, 113 degree here, and this is the angle that I need to find, right? And the information given to me is that this line, right, is parallel to this line, right? This line extend infinity like this, and this one also extend infinity like this. They can't touch each other, right? So one thing I can do is to first of all extend this line, right? So I can draw a line here, right? I can draw a line here. Good. And this line that I've drawn is parallel to this line, right? If it's parallel to this line, similarly, it's also parallel to this because we know this line and this line are parallel. Definitely, this line also is parallel to this line. So I will put the symbol, which is this, right? Now, if you study this diagram now, you see that this angle and this angle are what? Cointerior, just like this, right? They are cointerior angle. That means they must sum up to what? 180. So what I can do is I can label this angle angle A. Remember, the mission is to find angle X. But let's first of all label this angle A. Now, to find A, you say A plus 113 equals 180. And what's the reason? Cointerior, right? Cointerior angle, right? Now, to find A, you subtract 113 from both sides. And when you do that, you have A is equals to 180 minus 113. And when you subtract, you have that A is equals to 67 degree. Now we have gotten A. A, this angle here, right, is equals to what? 67 degree. But what's the mission? The mission is for us to find angle X, right? Now, another thing we can do now is to extend this line, right? Because remember, we have a parallel line here. Now I want to extend it leftward. Now, when I do that, I will have something like this. Remember, the lines are parallel. Good. Now, once I finish doing that, you will see that there's an angle here again, right? So it simply means this angle also and this angle are cointerior. So I can name this angle angle B. Yes, angle B. So let's find angle B. To find angle B, we simply say 143 plus B must equal what? 180 degree, right? So let's do that. 143 plus B equals what? 180. And what's the reason? Cointerior. They are cointerior angle. If you want to know more about types of angle, you can watch my previous video. So let's solve this. To find the value of b, subtract 143 from both sides. And when you do that, you have b is equal to 180 minus 143. And when you subtract, you have that b is equal to 37 degree, right? Now, we have gotten the value of a, which is 67. We have also gotten the value of b, which is what? 37. Now, we can easily find x, right? Using the concept of straight angle, right? What the sum of angle on a line is 180, right? So for the angle from here to here is equals to 180. But now we know this part of the angle, but we are left with this part, right? So what we can do is 67 plus x plus 37, right? Sum up to what? 180. So let's do that. 67 plus x plus 37 equals what? 180 degree. Now we do that step by step. We add 67 and 37. When we add 67 and 37, we have 104 plus x equals 180 degree, right? Then to find the value of x, we simply subtract 104 from both sides. And when you do that, you have x equal 180 minus 104. And when you subtract, you have that x is equals to 76 degree. So we have gotten the value of x for the first question. The value of x is what? 76 degree. Now we'll move on to the second question, but before I do that, let me draw the diagram. All right, I'm done with the diagram. Now we are asked to find the value of x, right? Now remember, I always tell you that there are numerous methods to solve a particular problem, so we'll just stick to the ones we are going to use for this video. And I already told you that the concept of angle we are using are alternates and cointerior. Now we already use cointerior angle to solve question 1. Use the concept of cointerior angle and straight line. Now for question 2, we are going to use alternate angle also. Now looking at this, you want to find x. What's the approach you can employ? You can actually employ any approach provided you don't break mathematical principle. But what I can do now, I can insert a line in the middle which will be parallel to this line and this line, because right now the information we have is that this line is parallel to this line, right? So let's insert a line in the middle which will be parallel to both lines. So we have one line like this. Good, right? Now take note, this is 312 degree, right? The angle from here to here is 312. So let's find this, right? We can find this angle using the concept of what? Angle at a point. So let's label this angle angle A. Remember, the mission is to find angle X. But let's label this angle A first of all. So when we do that, we already know that A plus 312 must equal what? 360 degree. And what's the reason? Angle at a what? At a point, right? So definitely A is equal to, when we solve straight away, 360 minus 312. And 360 minus 312 gives what? 48. That's A is equals to 48 degree. Good. We have gotten the value of this angle as 48 degree, right? So this angle is 48 degree. Now you now use the concept of alternate angle. I already taught you what alternate angle is. This line and this line are parallel. Definitely this angle and this angle will be equal. So if here is 48, let's label this angle angle B. So automatically angle B will be what? 48 degree. So we can just say B is equals to 48 degree. And what's the reason? Alternates. The angles are alternate to each other. Alternate angle, right? We are not done. Moving on, we now know the value of B, right? The value of B is 48. So let's just write 48 here so that we'll be sure of what we are doing. 48 degree. Now to find this angle, take note, we already know this angle as 52. And this line are also what? Parallel. Are you getting it? This line and this line are parallel. Definitely, if here is 52 degree, this angle here, this particular one, this angle also will be what? 53 degree. But before I do that, let's label this angle angle C. So write it angle C. So what's angle C? Angle C is equal to 52 degree. So let's write it angle C is equals to 52 degree. And what's the reason? Alternate angle, right? Then moving on, if you observe very well, you see that that we have gotten the angle, which, okay, we have gotten this angle here, which is what, 52. So let's write it 52 degree, right? Good. Now, the sum of the whole of this angle, right? The whole of this angle will be what? 52 plus what? 48, right? So for us to find x, take note, this x is the angle from here to here. Then this point is acting as angle at a point, right? So that means the sum of the angle from here to here, right, is equals to 360 degree. Now we know this part, we are now left with this part. So to find x, we simply say x plus angle 48 plus angle 52 equals 360. So let's do that. X plus 48 plus 52 equals 360. And what's the reason? Angle at a point. Always put the reason, angle at a point, especially in exam condition, right? So what do we do now? We simply add 48 and 52. So when you add 48 and 52, this is supposed to be 360, please. 360. Now you add 48 and 52. When you do that, you have x plus 100 degree. That's 48 plus 52 gives 100 degree equals to what? 360 degree. Now to find x, we subtract 100 from both sides. And when we subtract 100 from both sides, we have x is equal to 360 degree minus 100 degree. And when you do the subtraction, you have that s is equal to what? 260 degree. Now we have found the value of x. You see that when you now add 260 plus 52 plus 48, it gives 360, which is angle at a point or angle in a revolution. I believe it is well understood. So we have gotten the answer for the x here. The answer for x here is actually 76, right? And 76 degree. And for the x here, we have 260 degree. I believe it is well understood. Now we have come to the end of this video. I wish to see you in my next video. God bless you and bye.